Some of the most enjoyable and traumatic experiences one can have in their childhood is going to the circus, the home of all people's dreams of running away and starting a new life, except for, an economically stable place to move to, like San Francisco. While a circus can seem like a whimsical land of fun and love, it's important to remember it's a place where a dark, lurking evil exists in these tent walls. Or flaps. Tent flaps, that sounds weird. A dark evil resides within these vertical sheets of fabric meant to create a perimeter denoting an exterior from an interior. That's better. The evil of which I speak is, obviously, clowns. Them and their dark, dark magic of cursing the weak-minded to believe cruel conspiracies like the moon landing, JFK's death, and corn. These Afro-laden monstrosities act like parasites amongst our minds. They are simply nothing more than freaky monsters with the intent of devouring all joy that resides within the world. Their cruel machinations never sated as long as there are smiles still in the world. They start by consuming blood, but not of humans, no. They exclusively feed on stingray blood. The blood of stingrays contains the life essence of Steve Irwin, which they use to tame the entire animal kingdom, which you can see used in their performances. Not to mention, the clowns are responsible for QAnon, feeding such unsavory false rumors, feeding people dangerous conspiracies, all to detract from the real conspiracy, that Abraham Lincoln is an immortal clown killer who seeks revenge on the death of John Wilkes Booth, his secret clone, at the hands of a clown. Their blood is exclusively made of raspberry spray cans recycled from factories in Bolivia, and they are made exclusively of little packets of dumpsters on the east side of California. This blood is completely acidic to the touch, and is fuel to the Illuminati. An Illuminati disguised as a circus ring. How can you not see it? This is the secret Insta-Snap and TwitTube are trying to censor. The truth they won't report. Get your aluminum foil underpants before it's too late. Because these clowns are literal demons from the depths of hell, and it's called New Hampshire. This is the secret 8th ring of hell that is signified in the rings of the circus tent. It's all there. Open your eyes. And now that we've solved that dark mystery, we can cover some of the more normal topics of circuses, like those flippy acrobats, those leather-winged creatures that perform stunts through the air. What do you mean they aren't bats? That's false advertising. The whole time I thought that acrobats were mutated monsters. Oh, so they're just a bunch of people doing flippy stuff? That's way less interesting. They have flippiness, so what? A coin has flippiness if you toss it. A car has flippiness if you drive it off a ramp. We celebrate the agility of people when it would be more fun to stick monkeys in cannons and fire them off. I am legally obligated to say that this is a joke. Do not shoot animals out of cannons, unless it seems very fun. And you're telling me that there are more than one different type? Why are there so many different types of acrobats? Unless they are different species of bats in this case. I don't know why we're going to clarify that people who flip through the air are slightly different. Well, you'll see this person does 7 backflips, whereas this person does 9 side flips. Obviously different. And some of them don't even fling through the air. I get flipping and stuff must take a lot of practice, and I respect them for that. But it seems kind of odd that some acrobats just swing on their ropes the whole time. That takes no skill. You just accidentally got some superglue on your hands while you were handling a rope. Next thing you know, you're swinging like a Spider-Man cosplay. And then we have the ones who don't swing at all. Contortionists. But that doesn't mean that what they do isn't impressive. I would give them credit, but it's only fair to give the real credit to whatever demon is possessing them to do that shit, because there's no way that's humanly possible. Speaking of humanly possible, what is it with lion tamers who wake up and decide their job is to teach the king of the jungle to perform tricks for you and whip it in the process? That sort of thing takes balls of steel. Still better than retail, though. How do you go about choosing lions for this process? Are some too wily? Are some too timid? I would need to assume that someone would tame the baby since childhood to have it not want to eat your face, but apparently animal tamers are more accurately animal trainers, since the animal is still wild. That means every time an animal goes on stage, they could legitimately eat people. Why do we support this? Although, it is cool, so why don't we train tigers? I think that tigers are much more dangerous. And cool. Plus, their bright colors go with the atmosphere of the circus much more. I mean, it's literally a striped cat. It's right there in front of you, and you went with a cat with a big hair? At least dress it up like a clown afro. Apparently there were some tiger tamers called Sigmund and Roy, but it wouldn't seem to have gone well. Seems there was some kind of accident, if you get my drift. But hey, at least it wasn't televised as a widely adored Netflix special. Who would want to watch something like that about tigers? Some lion tamers decide that grabbing a lion by the metaphorical and maybe physical balls isn't enough danger, so they decide to go around sticking their head in the lion's mouth. Come on, man, you're just asking for murder at that point. If lions could be tried for murder, I don't think they should be guilty in that case. You were asking for it. The only stupider thing you could have done is tried riding it. I don't think you can put a saddle on one of those things. I mean, you could certainly try it, but only if you're never going to want to have more children than you currently do. And if you don't want gazelles in your audience, it would be an excellent way to get rid of them. Scare the shit out of gazelles when they see the lion come on stage, unless they're masochistic gazelles, in which case they'll come back for seconds. And if you have a masochistic tamer, then, well, the lion tames you. I mean, there's already a whip there. I don't need to tell you what happens next. You all have access to Tumblr. You've probably seen something worse than this idea already. And if we're thinking of weird circus roles with potential to have some awkward Tumblr variants, let's not forget the sword swallowers. People who literally put swords into their throats. I'm starting to think circuses are people trying to make the world's most unique suicide pact, and they just keep failing over and over. I mean, think of the issues if you fail. You could literally be cutting yourself in half from the inside out. While it sounds like an amazing band name, sounds like an absolutely terrible way to be listed in your autopsy report. Do sword swallowers end up pooping out swords? They'd have to get a special type of toilet paper, and that's the least of their problems, truth be told. And honestly, I can't tell which would be worse, diarrhea or constipation with sword poop. Have they thought about swallowing other weapons? Maybe ones that are less pointy, because I'm pretty sure swallowing a sniper rifle might go down a bit easier. Although if that's the bar we're aiming for here, I don't think we took the right turn on our career path. Also make sure the gun isn't loaded. I spoke about sword poopies, but it's important to note that they can come out of the other end as well, and it would probably be worse than poopies to end up vomiting swords. Although that would be the coolest type of dragon ever, I will admit. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna visualize this. Sometimes I make this job way too difficult by not at all thinking ahead with scripts. Don't blame me, I'm literally playing The Division 2 right now at 9 PM with a cat in my lap. I have bigger concerns. And now I'm back, to finish my point on Circus's weird oral fixation with performances, ending with the lovely fire breathers. While a sword dragon would certainly be awesome, we also got to respect the classics with dragons. A massive lizard that can breathe fire? I'm surprised circus acts aren't trying to recreate it. Better than the lame CO2 dragon, aka a human. Maybe they're all sponsored by Elon Musk to sell those boring company flamethrowers. He is certainly known for his rather odd advertisements, and a circus certainly isn't out of place for a clown like him. Although, with kind of a flame throat, especially with a flamethrower jammed inside, there's a massive risk of accidentally choking. I am not going to give mouth-to-mouth to a fire breather. F that. Y'all can burn your tongues off if you want, but I'm different. Can you imagine a poor fire-breathing child trying to blow out birthday candles on their cake? Poor kid. He's going to grow up thinking there's no magic in the world. I mean, other than the fact that they can breathe fire, but who's counting? And when that kid grows up, they'll be amazing at smoking weed. Do you burn the actual marijuana? I don't know anything about weed. Maybe if I did, I wouldn't be making a YouTube video about circuses, and actually be doing something productive, like being in a circus. At least then I'd actually have an audience. That's right, I see you. Actually, I don't, 'cause you're not there. This is what they mean when they say yelling into the void. But I'd like it, so screw it. It's not like there's anyone around to judge me.